Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. Coffee. My morning routine. Oh. And guess what? I did oversleep, but not as late as I normally have been doing. Uh, Trying to get things back to normal. You know, every year Grace and I experience this, and it takes us a week or so to get things back in line, get back in check. So here I am. And what's happening? First thing on the agenda, if the weather will allow, today, Grace and I will go out to our chicken pen and get our breeding pen set up again, and we'll get ready to start incubating eggs probably next week. I want the roosters to be with the hens at least a minimum of a week, so we get closer to being purebred. That's the goal. They've been running free now for, I think 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. And I'm going to investigate the rest of our chickens to see what we got and how many I expect to start getting of laying age. Getting tongue twisted there this morning. Just bear with me. But that's what we have in mind. Our egg production is still not up to where I expect it to be at this time. And it looks like, at the rate we're going, I'm going to be another year. I really thought in the beginning that when we started this adventure with the chickens, to be on track by now with enough egg production, enough turnover of chickens with roosters and hens that we could at least be breaking even. It's not happening. I've got a few sick chickens right now in quarantine, and my roosters that I have running free out here, the ones that we didn't butcher during the fiesta, I think we did 3 of those, and it left me 3 more. They're all 3 sick, and I think it's all due to the people come in and they brought it in on them. That's the only thing I can think of, because they were doing fantastic before the fiesta with no issues. But hopefully they get over it, and I've got 1 or 2 of them that I want to turn into breeders because of they just seem to be, they're very good looking roosters. But we'll wait and see. Now on that, my next goal is for the next remaining 6 months or more is Grace and I are going to focus on the solar. Right now the sun is on its way back south, and my days of sunshine, even on cloudy days, I should get adequate production to run during the day. That reminds me, I need to switch over to 100%. Right now I'm only on about 30%. I need to do that after my little video. I can do that the way I've got it set up at the time. Anyway, what I plan on doing, I want to invest into another battery as soon as possible, so I'll be ready to go to 48 volts instead of 24 for the new inverter when I acquire it, hopefully within the next 90 days. That's the goal. Then I'm going to do a major swap out on solar panels. And if I can get all this together within the next year, I should have 6,000 watts of solar on the roof. Now, you're not going to get 6,000 watts continuously. My experience with solar panels. Let me break it down. On the average, you'll get about 4 hours of peak power, which then it'd be rare to get 100%. Uh, there are days I have gotten a couple hours of the maximum maximum output, but that don't happen very often. You can pretty well do your average so you can calculate wattage that you need by doing, from my experience, about 50% for a 5-hour period. So at 50% with 6,000 watts, that's 3 hours of let me get this right. At 50%, they give roughly about 3 to 4 hours. We'll just say 4 hours of your max during your daytime. You multiply that by your 50%. In my case, if I do 6,000 watts, that's 3,000 watts, which will give you roughly 12,000 watts. Now, if I got my goal is to have 16 kilowatts of storage. Well, that's not enough to fill 16 storage, but you got to remember, I got another 4 hours that is going to be below that, which still will put me right at enough to charge the batteries with 16 storage, considering that the batteries are totally discharged. And what that boils down to is, if I can explain this simple, if once I get this in place, that should give me during the month at least 90% of days that, well, not hardly 90, let's say 70% to be more realistic, that I can do 100%. Which also means that be some days that I can only do 70% staying off the grid. That should reduce my electric bill down to near nothing. I estimate probably get if you want to do it in US dollars, I should be able to get it down to where to around $20 a month. That would be a huge difference in savings. Now, my monthly usage is roughly 12 to 14,000 pesos a month. And that's due to, to be honest with you, I got downstairs that we keep in electricity, and keep Grace's grandmother in electricity, plus our own usage here. Our well pumps, there's all the water usage, and it takes quite a bit there. And then, we got a lot of appliances with TVs and refrigeration, and of course aircon. Of course, we only use the aircon mostly during the daytime if we're taking that, which is not a lot. Then, of course, we have washing machine and stuff like that, and a water cooler and things of that nature. But overall, the equipment I got right now, it's been in service long enough to pay for itself. So what I'm going to do with the old equipment to help me get my goal is sell it. Now, I'm going to sell the 2 used inverters I've got, and I'm going to sell my excess solar panels. Once I start getting ready to swap them out, I will sell the panels to get some money towards the new equipment. And also, I will have 4 used batteries that I will sell. Now, you want to ask me why you want to sell those batteries? Why don't you use those? Well, they're 24-volt batteries. But the way the BMS is in those batteries, I can't do series connection to do the step up to 48 volts. They still function good, and they're mislabeled. They're labeled at 150 amp hour, which should be roughly a little better than 3 kilowatt per battery, which they're not. They're about 1.5 kilowatt per battery. And I can't find a YouTube video now that done a breakdown on one of those batteries like mine that I'm getting ready to sell. But they are mislabeled, and they got 100 amp hour batteries in them. So, and they are used batteries. They were made with used batteries. So they're not going to be at full capacity. And I was unaware of that when I bought the batteries. I just took granted that they were new sales. They're not. Now the last battery I bought, which is 24 volt, I've seen a breakdown on those, and those are new batteries, and they do have the correct battery in them. And they've got good reviews. People are very happy with them, and so forth. As time goes along, things get better. During that time when I bought those, the batteries were expensive, but I'm not regret purchasing. It's better than the lead acid. I guarantee you that. I'd rather have those as 10 lead acid. Lead acid, I do not recommend using with solar. It's a waste of money and time. You'd be lucky if you can break even on them with the cycle life, and also their discharge rate. Lead acid you can only take down to 50% if you want to get the maximum cycle out of it. If you take them below that, you will cut the cycle life in half. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyway, I got lucky on my last set of batteries that I had. They were lead acid, deep cycle. We sold them. I didn't get anywhere close to what I paid for them, but I was happy to get what I did out of them. I can't remember now, but it worked out to where it allowed me to buy the batteries I currently have. But things are looking up, and Grace and I have sat here, and we've made a plan out on how to get this solar system upgraded and hopefully stay within some type of budget. At least that's our goal. If we don't have any major disasters, like we did with our little van that had to do the overhaul, that set us back quite a bit. So far it's doing good. No problems. I'm happy with that. I know when we get on that subject at another time. I'll do a video about that at another time. But anyway, folks, I just thought I'd touch base with everybody and let you know that Grace and I are trying our best to get back on the level, get back organized, and try to make things work. So, until next time, stay tuned.